Honorable Chief Guest, I request you to deliver the convocation speech.
Esteemed President of this Sanjay Ghodawat University, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Bhosle, the Trustee, Sri Vinayak Bhosle, members of the Governing Board, Senate, Academic Council, Deans, Heads of Departments, faculty members, invited guests, parents and family members and well-wishers of the graduating classes, members of media, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, dear students, the wonderful citizens of this great city of mine, Kolhapur. Namaskar to all of you. At the outset, I extend my warm greetings to all of you, as well as the parents who have gathered in large numbers, the award winners, teachers, support staff, faculty members. You have made all the stakeholders proud. Remember, this marks the beginning of your new career as graduating classes and not the end of it. We live in a world fraught with conflicts, contradictions, and looming crisis of climate change. It is a world shaped by what now is referred to as VUCA, that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Today, I will speak to you on a subject which is little different, however, which has been discussed in media in the context of India's aspirations to be a Vikasit Bharat, the advanced nation by 2047. Let me begin my talk with a very important prayer from our scriptures. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnamoduttate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashyate. The literal translation or the exact meaning is something like this. What is visible is the infinite. What is infinite is also infinite. And out of the infinite being, the finite has come, yet being infinite, only finite remains. This is what our ancient wisdom tells us. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 Paris Agreement signed by 195 nations aimed for a global net zero emissions, that is of carbon dioxide, seeking to limit the temperature of the globe to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius at the end of this century. While the OECD nations set a target of 2050, the middle of the century, China aimed for 2060 and India committed to achieve it by 2070. But is it good? Can not India do it before 2070? With India's population currently standing at 144 crore and projected to reach 1.67 billion or 167 crore by 2050, the country faces immense challenges in meeting its growing energy and material demands. This is where the concepts like green energy, circular economy, recycling, deeply rooted in our Indian traditions, become very crucial. One of the most pressing concerns is climate change and its impact on all living species, on land, in forests, underwater, and in the skies. Many species have already vanished or on the brink of extinction due to an increasing imbalance between the rate of material and energy extraction, consumption, and their natural restoration. The most striking difference lies in the attitude of the United States politicians toward climate policy. President Donald Trump was openly against carbon emission regulations, and during his first term in 2015 campaign, he repeatedly emphasized that securing cheap energy for the US through fracking oil and hydrocarbons, oil exploration, was his priority. As a result, immediately after being elected in 2016, he withdrew from the US from the Paris Agreement of 2015. In contrast, his opponent and successor, President Joe Biden, campaigned on achieving net zero and defeated Trump, later organizing the climate summit in April 2021, where he reaffirmed that the US is committed to carbon neutrality by 2050. However, in 2024 campaign, Trump was re-elected on the same rhetoric, and his slogan was "Drill, baby, drill." Even his opponent, that time Vice President Kamala Harris, stated that she would support fracking in Pennsylvania, that is producing more hydrocarbons. So adding to this controversy, just last week, President Trump reinstated that the use of plastic straws over paper straw through a presidential order, despite the global movement on single-use plastic, which in India, among many nations, have already banned. So what kind of politics is this? And this is where the most advanced and powerful nation prioritize cheap energy over carbon emissions and sustainability. If not them, then who would take this responsibility for the world as a whole? Is it not a VUCA world? The year 2024 witnessed extreme climate events. You might have witnessed it in Kolhapur also, with some regions experiencing severe droughts while others faced torrential rains, devastating floods. In the Death Valley in California, the temperature soared to 54 degrees C in the summer of 2024. Can anything survive under these extreme conditions? Before the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, in January 2020, the CO2 concentration, that is carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere, was 410 ppm. Surprisingly, despite much of the world was indoors, glued to the TV, with minimum travel and economic activity, still CO2 level rose to 412 ppm within a year. During this period, global refinery capacity declined from 97.4 million barrels a day to about 85 million barrels. And surprisingly, on April 10, 2020, the crude oil prices became negative, meaning that to store a barrel would cost $10 rather than yielding a profit. Several fracking companies in Texas withdrew from their investment from this business, stating that hydrocarbon industry will not survive. However, by June 2022, economic activity had resumed and the carbon dioxide concentrations climbed to 418 ppm. Today, as of today, it is 427 ppm. And remember, we are only 200 billion tons of carbon dioxide left before we reach 1.5 degree rise in temperature. Quite surprisingly, in the year 2023 and 2024, the CO2 emissions reached 40.6 billion tons and 41.6 billion tons respectively. And according to the World Meteorological Organization, this 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature would likely to be breached by 2027. That means we are already in a dangerous situation. Meanwhile, the global refinery capacity rebounded to 104 million barrels a day. So how will our civilization survive if we are going to face some extreme weather conditions? India's goals are little different. Our country has committed to reducing the carbon dioxide emissions to 45% by 2030. And in 2022, we emitted 2.622 billion tons, and we want to make it zero by 2070. Very interesting. Many companies in the world, including the hydrocarbon companies, are committed to have net zero. That is a good sign. However, a critical solution, according to me, it is not net zero but net negative, and that is what I've been preaching all along across the country and abroad. In the long run, carbon should not be a part of any energy mix. It should be all renewable energy, and that will save us from the disaster. Green hydrogen, being colorless, refers to the hydrogen produced from carbon-based sources, primarily through water splitting. And I am going to connect this to our ancient wisdom. Water splitting through solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, and nuclear energy, including tidal power. Blue hydrogen means where carbon dioxide generated, 90% of it is captured, stored, or utilized for some other production. So in the Sanatan philosophy, we have this trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. With the modern sustainability effort, with my personal view, solar, wind, and hydrogen will be the new trinity, forming a crucial part of the Panch Mahabhut, with hydrogen being the supreme force to address global climate change. Only hydrogen will give us energy and materials from biomass, used biomass, plastic waste, municipal solid waste, and whatnot. So as the energy carrier, hydrogen plays a crucial role in sustainability and climate change. It would be really the Trata, the savior of life, climate, and ultimately the planet. Green hydrogen produced through water splitting using renewable energy like solar, wind, hydro, nuclear, tidal, and geothermal can significantly reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Water splitting generates both hydrogen and oxygen, both of which are critical for development of sustainable technologies. Moreover, biomass, including carbon-containing waste such as plastic, woody materials, municipal solid waste, particularly 50% of which is a food, all this can be used to produce green hydrogen, to produce hydrocarbons, fuels, and materials and chemicals. In the first 9 months of 2024-25 fiscal year, India's crude oil bill reached $102.5 billion, making a 3.7% increase in our energy need. At the same time, whenever carbonaceous material, whether it is renewable or non-renewable, is used, it ends up in carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide should be our future feedstock. Our refineries will be based on carbon dioxide, and we have to extract carbon dioxide from whatever sources we have. So carbon dioxide can be used to make hydrocarbons, LPG, methanol, ethylene, dimethyl ether, formic acid, ethanol, butanol, and other hydrocarbons. And dimethyl ether, which is produced from carbon dioxide, is a great substitute for natural gas and diesel. And at the same time, methanol will be the future feedstock for all our chemical and allied industry, which is even promoted by Niti Aayog. At the same time, India is promoting bioethanol as a fuel additive, which will be blended with other additives like petrol, diesel, etc. And this is good for some time, but not good for the wrong time. Within next 10 years, we must use bioethanol to produce ethylene and 11 big chemicals and 19 other chemicals, because no carbon should be used as a fuel in the long run, that is by 2035. So what it means? By leveraging this technology, farmers' income can be increased, because our government is talking about farmers. According to me, farmers are burning their agri-waste, which is a valuable source of chemicals, fuel cell materials, can be converted by using green hydrogen and oxygen into a variety of chemicals, fuels. By 2050, the world's energy demand will reach 49,000 terawatt hours, of which India should produce at least 20%, being an energy exporting country and earning a lot of foreign exchange. While bioethanol should continue as a fuel additive for some time, but it should be converted into better chemicals, reducing the carbon dioxide emissions and thus negative carbon dioxide by 2035. The ultimate goal of all nations should be to have carbon-free renewable energy. No carbon should be used. That is my belief, and I've given so many lectures on this subject. India set a target of producing 500 gigawatt energy by 2030. I believe it should be 700 gigawatt, and that additional we should export to other nations and be rich. India also plans to have 5 million metric tons of hydrogen, green hydrogen. At the same time, another idea which will increase the farmer's income is the so-called sustainable aviation fuel. The aviation industry is mandated to use SAF. And see, Sanjay is here from that sector. You should know that now this will be increased every year, and India should take a lead in this SAF. We have been doing work in my lab on this. So SAF exhibits properties similar to conventional jet fuel, but significantly lower hydrocarbon, the carbon footprint. And that can reduce that greenhouse gas emissions by 50%. So this shift presents immense opportunity for both farmers and industries, and SAF will be one of them. From SAF can be produced from corn, bagasse, oil seeds, algae, fats, agricultural waste, wood mill waste, manure, energy crop, name it, anything which contains carbon. So biomass valorization to produce value-added chemicals is another area, because we will not have any crude oil by 2050. So how are we going to run our refineries and run the businesses? Another important thing is the plastic. The rampant use of plastic and the pollution which creates about its society at large is angered, but they are misunderstood. Plastic is a great material that has been mismanaged due to its inherent properties. It was originally introduced to reduce deforestation caused by paper production. Over a time, however, its excellent properties became its own curse. It became thinner, stronger, and cheaper, and vendors offering it free. Anything free in this world is not appreciated. It ends up as garbage. Unless you value your garbage and attach value to that garbage, you cannot make sustainable world. Plastic is one of them. Much like the newspaper boy delivers newspaper at home, which is never discarded by the housewife, but it is sold as raddi. The raddi is more valuable than the content in it, many times so. A dedicated collector should come to your home, collect that plastic waste, which will be costing not less than 20 rupees a piece, irrespective of shape, size, volume. And the housewife is very good at cleaning the plastic bag which contains milk, and it is refundable deposit. So you will pick up somebody else's garbage also, and we will not. That is the advantage of having refundable deposit on any plastic item, irrespective of shape, size, and that. That should be the policy. So, on one hand, Donald Trump said that he will allow this straw, plastic straw. He should have added a rider to that, according to me. That is, each straw will cost you $1 refundable, so people will not throw it. And that plastic can be depolymerized, and we can make more hydrocarbons, and it will be helpful to the industry, helpful to the society at large, and it will reduce the environmental pollution. And that is what we want to do in today's world of the net zero. My personal belief is that the pharma and biotech industry will grow to something like $500 billion in 1947. We want to be Vikasit Bharat. And so this is where, very interestingly, I also believe the corporate social responsibility funding, which is CSR, should be raised from 2% to 3%, and the 1% should be given to higher education. And in that 1%, 0.2% should be allocated to a scheme which I acronymed as SIR, S-I-R, that is Student Internship Responsibility. Every student must get opportunity to do internship in industry or any other business, and they should be paid not less than 5,000 per month as stipend. Only that will make India a great country. We must increase our manufacturing to 24% cumulative and 70% in service sector, then only India will become Vikasit by 2047. And I also believe, because I saw a lot of girls bagging the first prize today, maybe more than 85% were girls. Only 2 ladies are there on the stage, but 3 ladies, but there were many in the graduating class. So I have something for the government. Girls' education should be made free till PhD. Clap little louder. And why am I saying that? Girls' education should be made free till PhD, irrespective of their family income, social status, because no parents will stop the girls from going for higher education, whether it is 10th, 12th, bachelor's, master's, PhD. And of course, those who are qualified will do PhD. An educated mother at home is the best blessing that any family can have. And within 2 generations, India will be most enlightened country. The population will be automatically controlled. Girls will find their own husbands when they go higher education. And the marriageable age will also increase. So this is the social issue. And my personal belief is that 50% of the funds should be given by state and 50% by the center, and girls' education should be made free. And why am I saying? Herbert Spencer believed that the primary goal of education is action. Are we doing that? It's just not gaining knowledge. He also stated that education aims to develop a person's character. Is our education building our characters? And what are we doing about that? Therefore, if India wants to be Vikasit, this must be done. Now let me divert your attention to the Pancha Mahabhut, which I said in the beginning, their role in sustainability. Prithvi, Agni, Apas, Vayu and Akash. You have heard it, maybe in your schools you heard it. For example, Prithvi symbolizes stability and material resources. Everything we get from Mother Earth. Aligning with the circular economy. So when we talk about circular economy, if we do not have circular economy, we will require 3 Earths. We don't have them. So therefore, circular economy. So that will emphasize sustainable agriculture, reforestation, land conservation for achieving the net zero goal. Apas means water. It represents life and fluidity, highlighting the importance of water conservation and pollution control to ensure sustainable industry and agriculture. Water is also a source of green hydrogen, about which I talked a few minutes ago. So green hydrogen is produced from water using renewable energy, and that gives me water and oxygen. Agni symbolizes energy, particularly the transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy like solar, wind, geothermal, hydro and nuclear. Vayu, air. Vayu contains both nitrogen and oxygen with that, and that is required for green ammonia and again for converting valuable waste biomass into something which we want. So this contains nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, which are essential for producing green ammonia, fuels, chemicals, and polymers from biomass and carbon dioxide. And that will make cleaner air. And finally, Akash is ether, symbolizes the vastness of space, the stars, and infinites of the globe, emphasizing the interconnectedness. So I dare say it stresses the importance of global cooperation, which is goal number 17 in the United Nations Sustainability Goal, and the collective action in combating climate change. Tvam bhumira polona nobanitam, meaning thereby you are earth, water, fire, air and earth. And this reminds me the last one. Ayam nija paro veti ganana laguchetasam udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. You heard this phrase vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Actually, it is from Maha-Upanishad. What it means, the small-minded think this is mine, that is ours, that is yours rather. But the large-hearted, that is our philosophy, think that the world is one single family and therefore its sustainability is important to us. That is the message. So the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam from Maha-Upanishad is a guiding principle for sustainability, peace and tranquility. It transcends narrow identities to embrace global unity, which is essential in today's world of conflict and contradictions. As we move towards Vikasit Bharat, it is essential to integrate modern technology, whether it is AI, ML and all, with all whatever we do. So the digital technology, with the timeless wisdom of our ancestors, we must go into developing green energy solution, adopting sustainable practices and promoting circular economy. India has already made commendable strides toward achieving carbon neutrality. At the same time, we must encourage our young minds, those like you who are graduating today, to do research and innovation in clean energy solutions. Universities like Sanjay Ghodawat University play a very important role in shaping the country's future by nurturing the culture of sustainability. And as you step into the world as graduates, remember that each one of you holds the power to make the difference. Embrace innovation, uphold ethical values, and strive to be responsible global citizens. So let me conclude with a quote from Rigveda. Ano bhadra krutuvo yantu vishwata. Let the noble thoughts come to us from all directions for our betterment every day, every now and then. So may you all lead lives filled with purpose, innovation and service to society. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir.